All right, g'day, hi, and welcome. Laundry, anybody? Okay, so while I'm working on my truck, I'm making sure my truck's going to make me money. So it's got a bit of a sparse load, but this is my first load for the season. I still got to strap it down and all that. But, you know, I put 20 bucks of gas in it already. First time I put gas in this truck since, I think, February or November. I can't remember anyway. But I'm just going to show you a little trick here. Something that I do with e-waste stuff. I don't really have a market for it up here in Canada right now that pays well in my area. So stuff like this, I don't keep. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. Toss it out. But you see there is some like copper bits and stuff like that. But what I'm more after is, oh yeah, here's a better example. Stuff like this. So you see I got my wire bucket right here. And you don't have to go crazy with this, but these little transformers here, they have, they got a bit of copper in them. The big transformers have lots of copper in them. But the question comes down time and tonnage, like how much work do you want to spend doing this? Now, things like this, little clips, I take all those little things off or whatever, but you don't have to go too crazy with it. If you try to get everything, you'll be at it forever and a day, and it's not worth your time. But this stuff does add up, so you just kind of cut it all, and you're going to clean up, because I can't do it with one hand, so, but I'm just going to cut all that really quick. Always use one hand to cut. Never create a circuit, especially if you're cutting off a capacitor like this, because you can't get a charge. I thought I was keeping the capacitors, but you have to take all the shielding and everything like that off. So you're just going to cut all these wires, and then when you get the wire by itself, you just throw it in there. This stuff, you know, adds up very quickly, so there's a lot of wire in there. So you don't have to go too crazy with it, but just get as much as you can. And anything with wire, not just these things. Like I say, if you want to take the copper out of that, you can, but that's, again, time consuming. So I'm going to grab my bench slash ladder. And I'll go up here. Every time I get into this thing, I pretty much rip my pants. So crotch out of my pants. So you see this thing here doesn't weigh much, but you know, you can cut all this stuff and just cut, well, maybe cut as much wire out of there as you can. So watch you don't wreck your snips. You got to take all this tape and stuff off. So what I do is I take it all off and I throw it back into the dryer. But just cut like down here, whatever. You can go as nuts as you want with this, but again, time and tonnage, hard to do one-handed here. But you get the idea. All this stuff here, just all these little morettes have to come off. You can't have those on. You can't have tape on it. You can't have whatever. You just rip a lot of this out by hand, like that. See, I can cut it right there. Anywhere you can cut. And then I'll kind of clean this up a bit. And then I'll a bunch of wires in there too. Hard to do this one-handed to show you. If you have to. That's why you need hammers. But if you have to break stuff to get at it, break stuff to get at it. But there's also wire on the back. Make sure you get the obvious stuff, like the, you know, the actual plug-in wire, because that's the easy stuff. Other little tricks, especially when you have big bulky stuff like this. They don't weigh much. Like this truck is 6 inches higher than a normal Dodge Ram, just because I got extra leaf springs in it. So although it says 1,500 on the side, this thing basically has a suspension of 2,500. But fill it up, because I was able to lift this thing off of that pretty much by one hand, and there's still water in it. So this thing, I don't even think empty would weigh 30, 40 pounds, right? So there's not much there. It's a lot of volume, not paying you. Got a dishwasher. I got stuff in there, all my cans in there and cans in there. And just fill up as much as you can, you know, like try to make it weigh a couple of 100 pounds if you can. I got some steel in there, and you see what I mean. Like you just throw all your stuff in there. Oh geez, the flies are coming out. And then you close her up. So I still have to strap it and everything like that. I'm not going far, so I'll leave the satellite dish like that. That thing's actually probably weighs more than what that washing machine does. It's kind of a bit of a sparse load. Hopefully I have over 500 pounds here. I don't think I do, but I'll find out. I'll find out, because I got some tubing. I got a little bit of everything in there today. But what's good though, what's gooder though, is I got some copper. Got some nice copper. Yeah, so I got some copper. I got some copper rads today. Got some good stuff. Cleaning up the yard a bit. Still working on the truck while I'm doing this, you know, so yeah, cleans up. But now you can see why I really need a trailer, right? 6.5 foot box, you don't get much in there. You can, weight wise, you could put a lot more, but the problem is you don't get small, heavy stuff. You get big, bulky, light stuff, and that's what really kind of screws you over. So the other little wins, like I say, you get this, I don't know what this is weighing right now, but maybe it's about 5 or 6 pounds of it's hard to tell, but maybe it's heavier than that. Hopefully it's heavier than that. But 5-6 pounds at 15 cents a pound, you know, it's like, okay, that's not much, but you get a couple of 100 pounds of that densely packed in, and you pack it in as much, you know, if this thing, all these little wires here were solid in there, again, don't let them catch you with stuff like that on there, or they'll dock you for it. You know, they're trying to make money too, so you got to be kind of honest, eh? Yeah, see things like this, nice coil. Got to take the tape off and stuff. Sometimes it's just not worth it, guys. You know, you do you. Some people argue to the death that it is. Some people argue to death that it isn't. But if you can find a quick way to get this little copper stuff in there, that's copper's your number one, right? That's what you really want to get. So like stuff like that. I can get all the little wires off of that and just get it into there. And yeah, so I'll get this all cleaned up. And then I'll probably just hide those within there. Unfortunately, all these little capacitors and heat sinks and stuff like that, like that's plastic there, but some of them are aluminum. The heat sinks and stuff like that, these little micro boards, they like that's all gold there, right? What do you do with that, right? You have to clean all this off, and if you can't clean it off, you know, like it's, if you can find a way to do it efficiently, that's why most people don't do it, is because they can't find a way to do it efficiently. But if you could make money at that. So so that's just the way I do it. So anything with wire, take the wire's got copper, and copper's obviously, you know, the stuff you want the most. There's copper right there. And yeah, and then like just try to densely pack whatever you could pack in there. So that's load one. Yeah, I just gotta, you know, so I got Brutus all cleaned out. So Thunder here is gonna take the torch from Brutus as the scrap metal truck. But I will show you some of the other stuff I got today too. Might as well make a video if I'm gonna make a video, you know what I mean? I got a little bit, still got a little bit in the back of him there. But it's gonna be a while before I take my good stuff. But you can see, starting to get some, got nice piece of aluminum there. I got to get that piece of aluminum off, but look at all of this. Got this today, you know, so I separate that. Building up on compressors. Those compressors are worth a bit. I got a battery, got some copper rad. So there's money back here, a little bit of processing to do. Like I got to get all that copper off there and get that. Still got another chunk of copper in here that I got to clean up. And yeah. So little bits at a time, and then that was that's my aluminum cans, cat food cans. Yep. So yeah, there we go. That's just kind of where I'm at for the first bit. Gonna go for there. Once I have like say a few, I like to have 1,000 pounds of good stuff before I go anywhere far. But I also got to fix my truck before I go anywhere far, because like, you know, if you're following the channel, you know the issues I'm having with my truck. So it needs to be a little more reliable before I take it really far. You know, unless I get like a $10,000 load where it's like, okay, I get there and the truck's no good. Well, it doesn't matter. Go buy the truck, another truck the next day. I'll leave it there. Take it for scrap. There you go. Yeah, it paid for itself. You know, no, I'd never do that to this truck. I like this truck, but it does have to get fixed. So anyway, yeah, there we go. Load number one. I wish I had my trailer. That trailer there is too light. That's my dad's trailer. It's way too light. I'd bust it in 2 seconds. So the trailer that I plan on getting is going to probably be like a, you know, a 7 by 14 or 6 by 12 or something like that. I'd like to have a dumper box, but for me, like I think I'd rather spend the time unloading and have more volume than have a quicker dump and less volume. You know what I mean? Because it's like, even Paul and I, my buddy there, he had decided that 5 by 11 was some aluminum. I'll just throw it in there for now. 5x11 was too small. Too small. Now his new trailer, he's been going like crazy already. We've kind of, we're still really, we're buddy, but he's got a bit of debt that he's got to take care of, so he's kind of doing the metal thing by himself, him and his wife. So it's like, okay, I'll do my metal thing and he'll do his metal thing, and then maybe somewhere when things get going really good, we'll both join up again. And because I don't mind sharing, right? Like, but I'm broke too, so I kind of don't want to share right now either. Neither of us want to share. We're still like best of friends or whatever. But it shows you the importance of that. We both need trucks that are reliable. We both need good size capacity trailer. So if you're going to get into scrap metal, this is where you start. You don't quit your day job for this, but if you could do this every day, and then a 14-foot trailer load, you could make potentially a few $100s a day if you can keep the metal flowing. So the metal is kind of one of those things that when you get a big win, you get really big wins, but there's sometimes few and far between. So something, but pack it the best you can. I probably could even pack this a bit better, but fill up every space you can. All right, there you go, guys.